G'day guys, so today we are talking about the seated hamstring curl, a really good exercise to dive deep into those hamstrings and get a really good isolation workout through them. Okay, so what do we need to know about this particular exercise? Well, because of the seat and the backrest, we can really get into some really good stable positions and avoid some pitfalls when we are doing this exercise. So let's dive straight in. For those that don't know, the first point of call when it comes to setting up your seated hamstring curl is that we want this top pad to sit on just below your kneecaps. So that way then when we come all the way down, you're not going to get a great deal of pain because of the pressure on the patella, allowing that patella to move. Number two, we want these, the bottom pad down around our ankles, and the reason being is because we want to create the longest lever possible to place as much mechanical tension on the working hamstring. Okay, let's talk about the hamstrings. We know that the hamstring goes over two joints. It goes up, it goes into our calf, so it inserts into our calf or onto the bones of our calf and comes up and originates up on the top part of our pelvis. Now, why is that important? Well, if we don't brace and create stability through our back and through our hips whilst doing this exercise, what we can do is we can get ourselves into a bit of spot of bother by going and really arching our back. And by doing so, you'll find that your lower back will really load up and you might have some issues with your lower back. And also you might find that the load is really transferring through the lower back rather than through the hamstring and around this knee joint that we're aiming it for, to be felt. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up and create stability, which will then create our tension, and then we're going to execute to perfection. So first point of call, we want to make this as long as possible, as high as possible. And the reason being is because when we come all the way up, we want that stretch through these hamstrings. Number two is a little trick that I like to employ is by pointing the toes. Now the reason I point the toes is because the way the calf interacts with the knee joint, if we point our toes, we're going to get a greater hamstring contraction than if we are just to have them up nice, upright like so. So point your toes, take your calves out of the game. Next, I want to stabilize my hips because what we know too is that the least stable bone will always move to the most stable bone. So if we can create strong stability through our femurs and stability through our hips, we're going to get a really big, strong contraction through the hamstrings. And this bone here, obviously our shin bones, are going to move really well towards those hamstrings. So we're going to do a couple of things here. One, we're going to point our toes. Two, I'm actually going to squeeze my glutes on. Then I'm going to pull my shoulder blades back and down and pull myself into the bench so I am nice and locked in. When I create all this stability, all that is left to move is my hamstring. So again, we're going to pull our shoulder blades back and down, pull ourselves down and into the bench, and then point our toes and squeeze hard. Now, what we're aiming to do is get to as far and as under as possible towards the backhand. So it's almost as if you're trying to kick your backside. When we take the muscle for its full range of motion, you're going to put it under a great deal more stress. Accumulation of stress will end up in a greater result of hypertrophy, and then over a prolonged period of time, you're going to get the results that you're after. But we have to take it through its full range of motion. So again, shoulder blades pinned back and down, toes pointed down, really squeeze hard. It's at this point that we can start to arch and lose our back. We want to make sure that we are pinned up against that bench. So again, squeeze hard, push and point those toes. We're going to control the eccentric portion until we feel a big stretch through our hamstrings, and then contract again. Control, contract, control, contract. There is a skill set that we need to be aware of when we are doing this. Our hamstring works exactly like our biceps do. In fact, we actually have a bicep in our hamstring. It's called bicep femoris. And the way it works is that, or what I want you to think about, is that when we extend, if we go lax now, all that load is going to go through our knee joint, okay, or our elbow joint, and it's going to load up these tendons and potentially give you some knee trouble. So what I want you to do and concentrate on this skill is that when you're coming down, You're going to contract hard through your bicep, and you're going to control that eccentric portion and keep that tension on so your hamstrings are still on, and take them as far as you can before they go lax, okay? Or ideally, we don't want to go lax at all. So we want to go as far as we can out. If you go lax at this point, then I want you to go or do the next rep, but then don't take it to the point which you go lax. But if you don't, and you have the ability to keep that muscle under tension, I want you to go all the way out as far as you can, stretch, contract at the same time, come back in and keep pumping just like so. Okay team, that there is how you want to go about doing your seated hamstring curl.